Well, then, as we build up to the local government elections on Monday, Media Monitoring Africa has been keeping an eye on media coverage to determine what issues are being considered a priority. Nomshado Lubisi is a communications manager at MMA and is joining us tonight to reflect on their observations over the past few days. Nomshado, good evening. Welcome again to News at Prime. Let's begin with that very point. Your main observations in the last few days.
So, the first one that I'd like to highlight is the gender. We still have women, even though they make up 52% of the population. They were only covered looking at, with a fraction of 18%, still having men being favored at 80%. And really that is still concerning, especially since they're not given the platform to voice their opinions on critical local government issues. The other highlight as well was, for the first time, we are seeing academics and researchers being accessed at 4% as well, which is, I think, one of the things that were being highlighted in the previous weeks, that they were not really being accessed as much.
What's concerning, though, is that when you look at party representation in the media and coverage, you've still got the ANC, DA, and EFF eating up the largest chunk in that order. And I wonder if that is not playing to the disadvantage of the smaller parties, who some would argue, because they have such few resources, could do with a bit more coverage.
I think one of the questions that everyone always asks is that, where are the small parties? And even though we do have a large number of parties that will be taking part, we always have our top 3, top 5, if you want to put it as overall. And it is really concerning, especially since people are not really aware as to who those parties are, what do they represent, and what are they bringing to the table. And if you actually even go to their social media pages as well, you'll find that the interaction there and the engagement there as well is not really coming to the fore.
And why is it, do you think, that the trends are in themselves so repetitive, from the issue of a lack of women voices being represented in the media to how coverage of the political parties has really remained the same through the decades?
I think everyone always gets pulled towards the top 5. We've got, the big leaders that are there that are always bringing, robust interaction. And really, when it comes to media coverage, for example, EFF has also been leading in that regard. So I think it's the norm that we've been so used to over the years. And I think the biggest thing now that we need to bring to the front as well is that we need to show the diversity that is there as well. And especially now that people are looking at alternatives, as to people who will be able to actually hear them and actually put action to their requests as well. So I think for the past years, it's really been about the key, political leaders and what they are saying and having their robust voices in the space. And it's really quite a shame, because I think there might be, those small parties that are there that might really have something to bring.
And we were just having a conversation a few minutes ago with the NFP in KZN about political killings. That has also taken up quite a significant chunk of media coverage.
Yes, especially I think for the EFF and ANC as well. Most of the coverage this week was really at highlighting those killings, and as well as unpacking, the disruption that's behind there as well. Except obviously for the ANC as well, with the call for Cyril Ramaphosa in terms of the minister. So there's been quite a lot of coverage on those killings as well.
Are the voices of political parties echoing louder than the voices of the electorate? Definitely, we do have them at the top front. They are the ones that are being heard, especially now that we're going closer to the time. You are seeing them actually, turn the volume up a bit there. And it's quite, at the same time, you'd expect that, the electorate would be in the front, given the logistics that are going behind there and all that needs to be communicated, especially to the public. We had some disinformation going around saying that people need to have a vaccination card, for example, to be able to vote, and that is obviously not true. Nomshado, so good to speak to you. Nomshado is Media Monitoring Africa's communications manager, speaking to us about media trends on elections tonight.